Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. This is LV, and if you're new to this channel, this is my YouTube channel where I talk about plant propagation and show you the plant that I got. Today we are going to talk about propagation, this Philodendron Burle Marx fantasy. So let's get started. So I got this plant from Steve Leaf last year, I think around October. I got it as only 2-leaf rooted plants, and from that time to now it's growing me this giant amount of leaf. I'm tempted to cut it many times, but I still did not do it, and then just give it a longer and longer pull. Like about 3 weeks ago, my grow light dropped. So it dropped right to here, so it's damaged all my bottom, like this bottom leaf. I don't know about the root, but I think it should be okay. It's growing in perlite right now, so it seems like enjoying the life. There's no water right now, it's just too dry, a little bit too dry actually. I usually have some water underneath it, that's why it's kind of looks sad. The olive is actually quite big, and then it's still big, and then somehow it suddenly is dropped smaller. I truly believe that I was under fertilized it, because afterward the newest leaf is go back to bigger size again. So I'm just going to do some cutting today. I don't like this yellow leaf. So I'm going to show you how I propagate this. I bought it around, I think about $40. I remember I told myself, why this plant is so expensive? I don't even understand about the plant and not really like super into it. I still don't understand about this plant so much. So I like to use a knife to cut the cutting instead of using the scissor. This one is give you a clean cut. When I have this in semi-hydroponics, because it's in perlite, I never need to brush it. And it was also in my grow tent, so it has quite a bit high humidity compared to the regular room. But this summer I have been neglected them quite a bit humidity wise. I'm growing in nutrition water, just left it in the corner of my grow tent with grow light. So that's all what I did. For me, it's quite an easy plants to grow. So that's why I do not understand also why it's expensive. Let's start with taking out the plants from the pot first, because I do plan to cut everything. This is the bottom cutting that was damaged. All the roof in the bottom is also look like yellowing already. So I'm just thinking maybe I should just propagate everything first. Tissue, and you do need to have a clean tool. So I use this to kind of clean up my knife and my scissor. It's a bridge kind of correct stuff. I also use a scissor. This is just to cut off that leaf. Clean up the cutting board. First, just cut off this ugly leaf first. I let it hang for 3 weeks since it's dropped, so it's my bad that have mold, because you know the tent is humid, so of course it's going to have mold. Slightly root bound. It's look very pretty actually. I like the root bound. I have the leg underneath, and then just let the root truffle down to get the water. You can see the plant is actually attached to the moss wall right now by itself. The root go in there, because when I sprayed the pole as well, so I guess it's good. I'm looking at how I'm gonna cut. Probably gonna use a scissor for the bottom cut first, since I can detach the root first. The root is very heavy. This is my first cut. So this one actually have 2 nodes. One is the leaf that I just cut off, and one is the one on the top here. I don't like use scissors so much because you can see it's not really a clean cut. So I have to take out the moss pole since the root is going inside. I got to find a way to take it out. I want to keep most of the root out too. I lost the root for the top one. So I have a lot of leaf here. If you want to be safe, especially for the bottom leaf, you can have 2 nodes instead of 1 node. But if you are greedy, you can do just 1 node each. I'm not sure which one I want to do, but for this very bottom one, I'm probably gonna do 2 nodes. Here you go. This is the first one. It's pretty clean cut. And then you can see one of my leaf down here is already yellowing. That's why I kind of want to keep 2. And I'm gonna cut off the yellowing it. So the roots be like this. This one I do one leaf cutting, one notes here. I also have quite a bit of work around, so the note itself is about like 3-inch long right now. So yeah, so if it rot, it will be okay, like more safer. So the top one, I keep it to top cutting because this is a newest leaf. Might still need an energy and doesn't have enough area roots. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna let it dry first, like let the notes, the cut point dry out a little bit more before I do anything. Since I also have this cinnamon powder, so I'm gonna just dip it as well in cinnamon powder. I don't know if it's really gonna work or not. Some people say it works, some people don't. Just to be like, you know, make yourself feel better, I'm just going to dip it in cinnamon powder. For this one, I'm actually going to put it back to the original pot. It was a little bit root bound, so I'm going to repot it a little bit to the top. I don't feel want to put it bigger pot because it's only one leaf here. I don't think it's necessary, so I hope if I put it back will be okay. I'm going to just water this with warm tea. Nutrition, just like a liquid dirt. It's a nutrition water here. It can touch to 1 cm here. I actually can touch more than this because this one is already used to be the semi-hydroponics. And then that's all. That's how I'm gonna put it back for this guy. You can see my leaf is a little bit yellowing from the stress of dropping the grow light. Hope the new leaf will be okay, will be recovered. And for the rest of this guy, I'm gonna wait until it's dry out. And then it's about 1 hour should be enough. And then I'm gonna put it in perlite and sphagnum.
1 hour later.
So I let it dry. Look dry to me. You don't want to be too over dry. Just going to pot this in sphagnum first. I have these moist sphagnums. I was using diluted super dry water to water these sphagnums, and then I squish all the water out, and I like to store it in the plastic wrap, so it's just easier for me to reuse it. It's very simple. Actually, if you have hydrogen peroxide, you can spray the root with hydrogen peroxide, or you can spray with super dry solutions, or you can even just add a rooting hormone on it. So it's up to you. You can also just do it without anything too. Since this is the most convenient for me, I'm just use hydrogen peroxide solutions. I don't remember the ratio. It's pre-mixed for a while already. It could be 50-50. So yeah, so this is how easy it's gonna be. And then I'm trying 2 ways of propagating. I actually want to do water propagation too. For now, this look good. This one, I'm actually gonna do water propagation. Yeah, water propagation sounds good too. In summer right now, so it's quite important to know your weather as well. So if you're in winter time right now, water propagation is not a good idea because they are growing slower. Let's see, do I have anything else? Oh, I don't have anything left, but I'm gonna add some liquid dirt water, and then this is gonna be with perlite. So the same things is with my sphagnum. I did wash my perlite, mix it with leca, a little bit of leca and a little bit of moss. After I wash it, it dry out for at least 3 days before using it, so it's still kind of moist. You don't want to use a fresh wash perlite. In my environment, I think it's way too wet. So when you plant your Burle Marx, remember to let the top cut outside from the medium that you use. So if you do water, don't cover this top cut. If you do sphagnum, the same thing. Last one, this one is going to be going all with sphagnum. Okay, so after this, I'm going to put it in a plastic bags. I can also put it in my greenhouse, but I want to give it constant humidity, and in my greenhouse sometimes it's too high, sometimes it's too low, so I think it's better to put it in a container or in a box that you can have it a consistent humidity that's above 85%. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in these plastic bags. I'm gonna write down the name and the date. I got to spray my sphagnum a little bit because it's in the bags for a little bit longer, so it's a little bit drier than it will be if you fresh wash it and squish the water out. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit more. If you have the propagation box, you can use the propagation box too. For me, plastic bags just work. This guy doesn't need to spray. The water is pretty fresh. Let me see if I can squish 3 of them together. I think I cannot. So new plants, I'm going to just put my prop in this box. I'm going to add a little bit more sphagnums in the box since I have some room here. You can actually just use the sphagnum inside the box to propagate it, but I just like it to be more separate in the cup. And the water one also going to be here. And then I'm going to just spray the sphagnum to increase the humidity. So the outside sphagnum is for humidity, the inside sphagnum is for growing. It's going to have a different moisture. So then I'm going to cover this guy and I just put it in black indirect suns, which is going to be down that corner. And then I will update you in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks later.
So this one is with Propagate. I've seen some root growing already, which is good. I think this is so far growing the best here. There is 3 cutting. This is the top cutting. The top cutting, so I put them in the terrarium setup. It doesn't have heat mat on it, so it's just a regular terrarium. So this one, this leaf seems like already have root, and then the other 2 doesn't seem have anything yet. Don't see anything. This might be root or this might be moss. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, and this one also have root. And the sphagnum propagation from outside, I can't really see anything from outside, so I haven't sprayed anything since I have it in sphagnum as well. So my terrarium setup is pretty moist. So did see some red roots, some small roots. So yeah, for the sphagnum it's also rooted already, but from what I'm seeing, the perlite seems like getting longer root than the sphagnum one. So I'm not going to take out both. I know they both seems like already rooted, so I'm just need to keep it for another 2 weeks at least before I can do anything else. For this one, this is so sad. This is my bottom cutting. I think I should do 2 cuttings instead of 1 whole cutting. They both doesn't get enough water when it was in the other setup before I put in terrarium. It was too dry and then it's just yellow out. For water propagation, this is what it looked like. It's also the mid cutting. I did not change the water. I'm too lazy. I just let it be filled up. So it does have some root. Obviously it's a water root. I think it's also growing. This one grow a little bit less. My water is still really green, RJ in it. So this is also in my terrarium setup. I think for this 3 method of propagations, Propagate seems doing the best. I would not know why it is. I think it just depends on the notes, I would say, but seems like water slowest for sure, and sphagnum does have some rooted. It just depends on which one you favor. They're all going to be able to root it. It's just take time, and if you have to keep it moist but not overly wet, and keep them in terrarium setup, which around at least 85%, I would say, to make it rooted successfully. Besides keep the terrarium moist, I don't really do anything, so this is pretty low maintenance. For me, I like it to get as long a root as possible. I'm usually wait until 2 months before I'm putting it in soil or something like that. So this is how I propagate my Burle Marx Fantasy. 3 of methods all working. It's the same thing. I think nothing very fancy. It's just all the philodendron pretty much the same. Keep them moist, not over water. That's all you need to know, and a lot of patience for this type of cutting. I will say, since it's not node, it probably take about 2 months or 3 months, then you can see some new growth. Yeah, so if you like the video, remember to click like and subscribe. Put a comment down below if you have any questions. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and happy plantings. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.